Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for coming. I'm Jacek Becla, chairman of the XLDB conference series. So we have about 3/4 of what we are expecting. There's more people coming. About 160 people registered this year. So just a few things, just logistics and just in general. Let me just start by checking how many people are new and it's your first XLDB? Quite a few, actually. Perfect. All right, so I have a couple of slides that are kind of repeat from the past, but so that will be for you to kind of give you the history and background. So we started XLDB back in 2007, and we had three kind of primary goals. We wanted to just exchange information between different groups. We wanted to bridge the gaps between different groups and kind of facilitate growth. So we are not building any software here, but we are kind of bringing people from different communities together just to exchange information, lessons learned, ideas, and things like that. And this was actually working pretty well since we started back in 2007. So we are focusing on practical aspects. There are no sales talks. There are no products here. It's just talking about practical aspects. How I've done this. I have a petabyte of data or a few hundred terabytes, and there's a lot of pain I went through, and people are just explaining how they did it. And then it's all about data management, analytics at extreme scale. And for us, extreme scale doesn't necessarily mean hundreds of petabytes, but if it fits on a single node, then it's probably not an extreme scale. That's how we look at it. So it better be distributed. So as I said, we started in about 2007. And it was just a workshop. We invited about 60 people. So basically, workshop is the first thing that's kind of the core of the XLDB. And then we opened it. So we created a conference because we realized that like 50 or 60 slots is not enough to build a community. More and more people wanted to come. And then eventually, we started adding satellite events because there was so much demand that we basically went to Asia, we went to Europe, we went to South America. We started organizing topical events. So for example, last year we had one focused specifically on healthcare. So various ways of reaching out to the community. So you can see kind of the summary. We started with the workshop back in 2007, and then we added conference in 2010. We went to Edinburgh in 11, Beijing in 12, Geneva, and then Rio and New York. We didn't have an event last year because we switched from falls to springs. So, and we didn't want to have the kind of the back-to-back 6 months away apart event. So that's why we skipped it. But we had two events anyway, one in Rio and one in New York. And looking into the future, we are planning to have XLDB specifically focused on government in DC. And we will be thinking and talking about it during the workshop, exactly how to organize it, when, and so on. So it's either later this fall or in the spring of next year. And then also there are discussions about having an XLDB in Chile, in Santiago, most likely next year as well. So in terms of the breakdown, this is actually a mix that stays relatively flat over the years. We kept checking every year, and basically you can see that about half of the audience is from industry. There's about a quarter from different vendors, and there's obviously a gray line. Are you an industry, are you a vendor, sometimes both, and so on. Academia, the same. You might be academia and vendor, and so on. But roughly speaking, we have people from science, from academia, we have vendors and industries. And all of those groups are basically focusing on big data, large scale, complex analytics. And by others, I mean things like VCs and founders, government, and so on. We are also reaching out through YouTube. So we are taping, and then as long as the speakers sign the release form, we are putting it on YouTube. And you can see, actually, in some cases, this is sorted by the top views. In some cases, we had over 4,000 views of a talk that was 47 minutes. So we are basically reaching out to many people through other ways as well. When I looked at the total, we had over 31K views of the talks that we taped from the past conferences. So our philosophy is basically to keep it stable and don't change it if it's not broken. And this is actually the feedback that we were getting from you, from the community, every single year. So we have the poll at the end of each conference, and every single year it's the same. Don't change it. Don't fix it. Don't try to improve it, because what you had was working. So we are kind of trying to keep it stable, keep it the same, keep the conference, the workshop, and we are doing small fine-tuning. Some are working, some are not, so we are basically experimenting. Like we had the tutorials in the past, we had demos, and it was a mixed success. In some cases, they were really great. In some cases, there was like 7 people turned out for one tutorial. There were several in parallel. So, so things like this. I was just thinking, the other day, how many conferences there are out there that call themselves big data? And I don't know how to really count it, but just for fun, I just typed in Google big data conference, and I got 79,000 hits. So I don't know. It doesn't mean there's 70,000 conferences, big data conferences, but still, I mean, I was thinking maybe Google is wrong. I checked with Microsoft, same, 78.5. So, there's a lot of talks about big data conference. So I was thinking, how many experts do we really have? Big data experts. And, it's like 2 experts per conference, according to Google, or according to Bing, there's even less experts than conferences in big data. So I'm just joking, but the message is basically that when we were starting back in 2007, there was nobody talking about big data. So we were the only one. And right now, there are so many events, so many conferences, so many opportunities that call themselves big data that we are actually competing with them. So some people are asking, oh, it's smaller this year than in the past. Yes, it's smaller. So I don't know how many of you know, but at the peak about like 3 years ago, we had 320 people coming to XLDB. The very first one, when we opened, we had to close registration like a month before, because we had 160 people registered and we had 150 seats. We didn't tape, by the way, at that time, and so on. And so, and also we are not really advertising. We are not trying to kind of make it into a big event. We really want to kind of build a community and see who comes, and then people who comes are really people who care. So that's how we run it, basically. So we are sailing through this ocean of big data, and I don't know if this is really painting the right picture, because it's kind of calm, and there's only one ship here. So anyway, this year, XLDB 2015, many things that are unchanged. As I said, we are not trying to fix things that are not broken. It's at Stanford, single track. We have lightning talks, we have posters, we have voting. So basically, there's the poll at the conference website, and you can vote, and then the best 2 talks, 5-minute talks, will get a plenary slot at the next XLDB. Notice I'm not saying XLDB 2016 or something, because back in 2013, I said that we will give a slot in 2014, but we didn't have the conference in 2014, right? So I'm not going to promise anything right now. At the next main XLDB event, you will get a plenary slot. Again, we are focusing on practical, real-world solutions. Same mix, industry science, we are trying to keep it same. Videotaping, publishing, lots of time to socialize, so you will appreciate it. There's a lot of really interesting people in this group. So I know some people come just to socialize and meet other people from the community. We are trying to provide power to everyone. That was always an issue in the past, so we are trying as best as we can. And we have the small invitational workshop, post-event surveys, and many more. Actually, 2 more. We have superb speakers. I mean, honestly, I think if there's one thing that's really strong about this conference, it's the speakers. We always have really great speakers, the world class, and I think this year is no different. And then we have the technically savvy audience. So I know that everyone in this group really appreciates the quality of the teachers, and they can engage in a discussion. So I think that's really what's special about this event. In terms of changes, we don't have tutorials, we don't have demos, and we introduce student passes. So basically, we are kind of inviting students to come and letting them come in at a heavily discounted price fees. So that was suggested many times. And then we used to wave a lot more aggressively. So all the speakers, all the organizing committee, everyone, and then we ended up with a huge budget gap. So we are now kind of stepping back, and I think I surprised actually a couple of speakers. Oh, what? You're actually asking me to pay for this and speak? So we are sorry about this. But at the same time, we are trying to keep the conference fee really low. If you go to any other big data conference, you're usually paying like $1,500 or something. So anyway, so that's the change. Logistics and miscellaneous. In case you are not sure where you are, so we are in Paul Brest Hall. It's a walking distance to a lot of interesting places on campus. If you are interested, I don't know which one I should point at. Let's see. So we are here. There's the Hoover Tower. That's the one here. This is the main quad and the church. So this is here. So it's basically like 10-minute walking distance if you have time today or tomorrow. Let's see. We have a social event. This is all included in the registration fee. There's no extra fee tonight. Just after the program ends around 5:40 or so. Just somewhere here. Bridget should know exactly where. Probably in that corner. Non-seated, just display your badge. It's not a full dinner, but you probably won't leave hungry. Miscellaneous, we will try to publish slides basically within 24 hours. We've been asked for it in the past, and people found it super useful. We will probably have the videos published on YouTube a month after the conference. Wear your badge. We have the wireless here. There's no password. Let's see what else. Turn off your cell phones, and if you are tweeting, please use the hashtag XLDB, and you can follow us at XLDB2015. Let's see, I wanted to thank the organizing committee. They've been helping me a lot, especially in kind of getting the connections with the right speakers and helping out with various logistics. Some of them are not yet here. I think Chris is coming just for tomorrow. We actually have a competing event, OpenStack in Vancouver. So some people who are coming specifically for one day. They're actually flying from Vancouver to here for a day and flying back, just to be with us for some events tomorrow. And I wanted to thank the sponsors: PlanetOS, Teradata, Snowflake, Vertica, MongoDB, CentOS Technologies, and also Moore Foundation. Without you, this conference would cost a lot more, or we would be without food. So we are really appreciating this. So with that, let me walk you very briefly through the agenda. So I didn't display this, so I will just take the. So I have time, right? Okay. So we are starting with the session on statistics, and I think we won't have one of the speakers that's listed here because we had troubles reaching out to him the last few days. So we will basically spread the time, and speakers will get a few more minutes. They've been already warned. Let's see. After lunch, we have Stephen Wolfram coming. He's coming around 11 o'clock, and he will be here with us for lunch as well. And then lightning talks, followed by urban and civic science, and then the networking reception. Let's see. And on Wednesday, we have on Wednesdays, we have speakers from the best lightning talks. So 2 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. We have the new big data ecosystem session, followed by the current practice and next steps in big data. So the idea is basically we wanted to we are following the trends. We are trying to understand what the trends are and what topics would be worth discussing. And it's clear that a lot of, basically the whole community is trying to integrate with statistical systems like R and others. So that's basically why we have this topic this morning, the highlight session. And then we thought that urban and civic science is kind of a cool session to have. They're actually doing a lot of interesting things with big data and really complex analytics. So you will see in later on. And then the big data ecosystem and next steps. We basically wanted to understand where the community is going with things like the OpenStack, with containerizing things and so on. So that's the topic for tomorrow. And big data next steps. So we will basically try to kind of establish what's the baseline is and what the next steps are, what the next unresolved set of challenges are.